Why were you all late?
I'm Ross. Don't worry, I miss you.
You're so late getting over it.
All right, Ted, we're going to get started as you organize, because we still have people in the room. So one last time, if y'all could just make sure to check your cell phones, turn them off, and let's do this. All right, so everybody's got their phones out. I want to ask our guests here to stand up real quick. Everybody can get their photo right first, and then we'll go into conversation and questions. Does that work for everybody? So gentlemen, would you please stand up real quick so they can all take your photos? There's... All right, everybody ready? There's about 9,000 cell phones. I have never seen this much before. 1, 2, 3, everybody smile. Go, click, click, click.
Hey!
Say cheese.
What are you doing? Other side. What are you doing? Right? Front. Now you got to do the...
It's clear these guys never had any fun together.
Fabulous.
Okay, everybody got your pictures? We're all good? Okay, cool. That way we're not blocking people's views and such like that. So here's what we're going to do.
My calves, my thighs.
Guns aren't allowed, Oscar.
Nice.
All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the StocktonCon office reunion panel. And you all know why you're here, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. At the far end of the table, playing the role of Stanley Hudson, Mr. Leslie David Baker. In the middle, playing the confused Oscar Martinez, it's Oscar Nunez. I should clarify, it's confusing to me. Wait, Martinez Nunez. And of course, sitting right next to me, the amazing, the chili chef, non-parallel, playing the role of Kevin Malone, Brian Baumgartner. So, first question I have to ask Brian, have you seen the super emo friends of you dropping the chili on the Artist Alley?
The what?
One of our artists he does, it's called Super Emo Friends.
Okay.
And it's sad people doing emo things, and there's one of you dropping a giant bucket of chili on the carpet.
Wow, no, I have not.
Okay, we gotta make sure you at least get a look at that before you leave Stockton. All right. So I'm gonna start off with some questions. We are gonna have questions. We're gonna have you guys raise your hands, and we'll call on as many of you as we can for this hour. Okay, but we have a few general ones we'll get started with, and I'm gonna just ask each of you, and we'll start with Leslie David Baker at the end. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the office, your origin story of how you became part of this iconic show.
Is this working? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I had gone to an audition for a show called The Office. Allison Jones called me in, went and did a pre-read, then she called me back to do the second audition. I went to the second audition, arrived, there was about over 50 people auditioning for various roles, including the one I was looking at, and I left because I had another audition. So I left that audition, went to the other audition. On the way back, ran into all kinds of traffic and school buses and senior citizens driving and trains and the whole bit, and ended up coming back to the audition, and she came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for waiting. They said you were in the restroom." And I said, "You're welcome." And I went in and I read with the lovely Phyllis Smith, who at the time was the casting associate with Allison Jones. We read the dialogue as scripted, and Greg Daniels, the executive producer, said, "After you finish the dialogue, just keep going. I want to see you do some improv." So we did that, and I talked about how I had seen all the people out driving and blocking traffic, and how every old person God made was out on the streets that day trying to navigate. And lo and behold, I got a call a few weeks later, got the show, and went into the table read and met these wonderful folks, and 9 years later we were doing a hit show that had ended, and now 5 years later here we are sitting in front of you.
Nicely done. Oscar?
You know, the basically.
Why do you seem so tortured?
Because I was all confused. Because I was gonna do a bit, and then I decided not to do a bit.
Yeah, okay, good choice.
Good choice. So, you know, I have the same thing as Leslie. It's an audition. You go, but when I signed up for the audition, you go there, and you sign up for the audition, and you put the time that you get there. I have that sheet of paper at home, the original one, because my name's on it. Leslie's name is on it, and Kate's name is on it, along with other actors who didn't get the part. But I have that one framed, and I made a copy. He has a copy, and Kate has the copy. But I have the original one, which I love, up in a frame. So that's cool.
Oh,
That was much better than a bit.
it would have been way better than whatever bit he was planning. I can promise you that.
And Brian, how about you?
So my story was a little bit different. I got called. I was very new to Los Angeles. And I knew the British version of the show. And I said, if there's a show right now that I should be on, it should be this show. And in the British version of the show, there was a character by the name of Keith, who became Kevin. So I got called in to audition for the role of Stanley. And I went in to audition for Stanley, but I knew that that was not the part that was right for me. So I read the role of Stanley in the room as though I were Kevin. And thankfully I left, and as I left, someone ran after me, Allison Jones, I think, and said, "Hey, sorry, we have this other character named Kevin. We're wondering if you would read for that now." As well, and thankfully that gamble worked out, and so that's how I became Kevin.
Wow. Yeah, round of applause. Come on.
And my cute little memento that I have at home, which I do think is very, very cool. When Steve Carell was leaving the show, Allison Jones came up to me that we had this big party, and she said, "I went back to these original audition stuff, and I was looking for something to give to Steve," because there were a lot of people, Bob Odenkirk, obviously now who does Better Call Saul, and a bunch of guys auditioned for that role. And she said she didn't really find anything, but she found this, which was interesting, and it was the casting worksheet for the role of Kevin. And there were 3 names that they were considering, kind of at the end for Kevin. One, oh my gosh, I don't want to forget somebody's name. One was myself. One was Jorge Garcia, the big guy on Lost, who has done quite well for himself. And the third name was, oh my gosh, and he's such a good friend of ours.
Comedian? Comedy?
From Modern Family.
Tyrell?
No.
Eric
Stonestreet. Eric Stonestreet, yes. So it was the 3 of us, so I
he would have
obviously...
been better. He would have been... That would have been interesting. I'm not saying, no, we're friends, he gets me. But that would have been interesting. Eric Stonestreet. Oh, we might have made a mistake. Could have been.
You'd be on Modern Family and still working.
No, that's the end of my story. You want to play some more bits?
Those are my bits.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Good night.
So if you could talk a little bit about your history, did you all have background in improv going into the show, or was that how you got started, or were you all doing regular acting gigs? Or?
I actually tell this story all the time, and I just told, I don't know, maybe half of you upstairs, because it's to me, I think it's what makes us unique, is that we had a... No,
it's the timing.
I'm sorry,
just don't interrupt.
It's the comedic timing. Sorry.
We had so many different people who, that were sort of trapped in this room for hours and hours that all came from different backgrounds, right? So like Steve and Kate Flannery and you and, were more improv people, clearly. Other people who were stand-up guys, BJ Novak and Craig Robinson and myself and Leslie and Rainn Wilson, who are more just theater
classically
guys.
trained.
Yeah, so Yeah, so to answer your question, which I do think is one of the things that made our collection of characters unique, was that so many of us had different backgrounds that we started from, and I think brought a certain energy that would not have come if everybody was just the same. From improv, which is obviously the weakest form of comedy that exists today.
And that's one of his bits. Cruelty, wit, but he thinks he's witty, but it's cruel, children. It's cruel. I see a lot of children out there. It's cruel to put your friends down.
I feel like we need to separate the two of you. Like maybe Leslie should be in the middle.
I am Switzerland, yes.
Well played.
Unity. Thank you.
He's neutral. That's what he's saying. He's neutral.
Yes.
So the show, you said, mentioned the show had ended 5 years ago or so, but it's really gotten an amazing second wind in binge watching. And a great example, a young lady I work with has been watching it religiously, pilot to finale, and she never watched it the first time around. And
Who's that?
What's that?
Who's that?
Her name's Paulina.
Tell Paulina I said hi.
I will do that.
Good people.
She'll watch.
He's such an
Well,
idiot.
I'm literally going to tell her that Oscar Nunez said hi, and she's going to be ecstatic.
Part
So,
of the reason is that we've got a new following. People are realizing that those personality types are throughout society, whether you're in kindergarten or the nursing home or your local church or your college. You see these personality and behavior types over and over and over again, and 7-year-olds recognize it, 16-year-olds recognize it, 80-year-olds recognize it. So now we're starting to get this newer generation of people watching us, and we appreciate that.
Surprisingly enough, 83-year-olds do not recognize it.
83-year-olds,
Do not get it.
they watch it, they get it.
did all three of you? I know, Leslie, you worked in the corporate world for a while. Did Oscar or Brian? Did you work in the corporate world at all, or have anything that you could apply to the experience?
Is go-go dancing the corporate?
That would be corporate.
It could be. Now everybody wants to see you go-go dance.
No,
No.
we do not. I promise you.
I was
What'd you say, Betty White?
Yeah, exactly.
I was babysitting and waiting and what do they call it? Waiting tables. Yeah.
Serving other privilege.
No. Wait. What's the other name when you catering? I was catering.
Oh, okay.
Is that it? I was catering and babysitting when I got to the office.
Good story.
Whose babies?
People want to know because it's a rags to riches story, and it helps. Now they're ganging up. Switzerland turned into Italy and joined the Axis because these the Nazis.
So is this what?
And the United States and Great Britain. Thank you.
Is this what it was like when you all were just sitting in the office filming the behind the scenes, or doing action in the background while somebody was doing one of the testimonials to the camera?
I think we get along better now because there's more time in between seeing each other, so we appreciate it. Where when we were doing the office, it was a grind. Every day I'd have to look at these mugs.
There was a lot of shopping going on,
A lot
yes.
of drugs going on behind the scenes. Again, kids don't do drugs.
So the internet was working on those screens.
The internet was
Yeah.
working on those screens. That's how I found my house, my car, my furniture, my shoes, Phyllis's Emmy dress. Yes.
No, we would do.
not kidding.
We would pay bills and do various things online.
Tell people, please go check on my house because I've been here 12 hours and I don't know if it's still standing. Yeah.
So one of the questions I know will get asked, but there's been rumbles and rumors about the possibility of The Office coming back. Any thoughts about that?
Guess what I've heard? Nothing. Call NBC, write NBC, go on your computers, tell them what you want, what you really, really want. If you want to see us come back, then don't tell us, tell NBC. You want a Christmas special? Tell NBC, because I doubt they're going to send you a Christmas card or anything else. So, tell them what you want. It's like going to see Santa Claus. Tell them.
Well, okay, so what's the plot point that gets Stanley back out of vacation or retirement in Florida?
Cash.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that's fair. All right, it's time for questions. We're going to do it this way because there's so many of you. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I'm going to call on as many of you as I can. I'm going to ask you to stand up, ask your question. Now, please, be respectful of everybody else's time. If you have a 4 or 5 minute monologue story that you really, 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 really want to tell,
Tell it at home.
do it on the fun deck. So, First hand I saw was you, sir, right there. Yep, stand on up and go ahead. We'll get you next.
This is for Brian. What have you done to contribute in saving the turtles?
Saving the turtles.
Saving the turtles? You know, I'm tremendously proud of my work on that.
What is that from? White Turtles. Is that an outfit? Is that an episode or something?
Yeah.
You were there.
You. I ran over the turtle.
Oh, yeah, you ran over the turtle.
Decorated the turtle.
There's so many episodes.
And everything except put it in your pot and make soup for
Yeah.
You gotta remember, these people all know every episode
More
and
than we
every
do.
word
More
that
than
you
we do.
said. So, okay, gentleman in the red shirt, and then we'll go back over here.
Which is each of your guys' favorite episode?
We'll go start with Leslie and work our way down. Favorite episode?
When they shot me with the blow dart, I fell on my face, and they wrapped me in bubble wrap, and slid me down the stairs.
Oscar has no recollection of this.
Drug me to a meeting with Roseanne Barr. That's about it.
There's so many good ones. Of course, I love Gay Witch Hunts, but I love the cat one where Dwight makes us do the fire drill and all that. And what else? What else? Yeah, that's it. Those two.
Brian?
Well, it's my favorite when I meet people. It's my favorite question to ask them, and I think it's a testament to the show and the longevity of it that I get so many different answers. I think for me, the stress relief, the fake fire drill thing for comedy, when Michael burns his foot on the George Foreman grill is another one. But I think that for my character, the series of episodes where Holly thought that Kevin was slow was just a joke that had been set up for 4 years that was pretty great.
Well, let me ask you about that. So, you are not a dumb guy.
Thank you.
I'm just like playing. So, what was it like playing Kevin, who was not the sharpest tool in the shed on a regular basis?
Look, I just love the guy. You know, the original, going back to the original cast, when they're casting something, they do like a character description. And what has always stuck in my head was the character description for Kevin was, the only thing remarkable about Kevin is that he is remarkably unremarkable. Which was the place that we started. And I think that the thing that I'm most proud of or feel the happiest about was that after 10 years, 9 seasons, we actually found out that there was kind of a lot remarkable about him. So, I don't know, that's my
I totally agree. Absolutely. All right, so we have the young lady in the red. We're going to go to you next, then we're going to go to you.
Red.
Yeah.
She has red hair.
Yeah, but she knew what I meant.
This is for Oscar. So in the episode Gay Witch Hunt, supposedly Michael was supposed to hug you in that scene, but instead he ends up kissing you. So that was totally improvised, right? And what was going on in your mind when that was?
The script said hug, and Michael did it like 3 or 4 times, but you know, I thought when he first did it for like a year afterwards or whatever, I thought, oh, he was just messing around, but he wasn't. He, as executive producer, he saw that the scene was flat. It was a flat scene. Nothing was really happening because it's appropriate to hug someone, and so he's like, I gotta do something. So he did. He I think it was the 4th take, and he kept getting closer and closer, and his nose kept getting closer, and I'm like, oh, pick a side. And then he kissed me, and I almost laughed, but I didn't. And I held it, and so they were able to use the take, and it was very funny. And now it's an iconic office scene because that's inappropriate. That's so wrong for him to take it upon himself to do this, to help me come out when I didn't want to come out. It's like, we're doing this, we did it, we made it. It's all about him. You know, it's classic Michael Scott.
So was the character of Oscar gay from the get-go, or was that something they developed over the course of the season?
No, I needed. I sold a show on Comedy Central called Halfway Home. Greg Daniels gave me, thank you, Greg Daniels gave me a way out by writing the gay witch hunting, and I got out to do the show and then I came back. How cool is that? That's unheard of. But one day he came up to me and goes, do you mind if we make a character gay? And I said, no, I don't care. And he said, oh, because we've written the script. And I'm like, you wrote the script already. Why are you asking me? As if I had a choice. But yeah, they made Oscar gay.
No, but wasn't your joke though? I mean, I'm not stealing this, but that when you went back in your mind, you were always wearing pink shirts and stuff from early on, and like purple shirts.
I guess he was gay, and then I'm like, well, now I'm gay. How do I act? And I'm like, oh, I was gay the whole time. I was gay the whole time. It's like Dorothy or something. You were always in. I was gay the whole time. I didn't know, and I was gay the whole time. Hallmark.
All right, here in the black hat, right on the edge. Go ahead.
What's your favorite off the rails moment when you guys are filming?
Favorite off the rails moments while you were filming? You want to start, Brandon?
I mean, the one that people talk about.
Does it involve Creed?
No, but probably that should. I mean, the one that people talk about that we've talked about before is when Kevin goes to sit on Steve Carell's lap. That one, if you go back and watch that now, you see John Krasinski jumping into the foyer to get out of the way. You see Mindy Kaling laughing, Ed Helms,
and Mindy and BJ in that corner.
and we did it so many times. But the story that I laughed so much too because I kept saying to him, "Are you Steve? Are you okay? Like, is everything fine?" But I would go, and he had a mic on, which you can hear on TV, but even a lot of these guys couldn't hear it. And I would go to sit down, and this is the sound that he would make right in my ear. He would go, "What do you want, little boy?" And then I would sit down and he'd go, right in my ear, and I could not stop laughing. It was not me, it was him. It was just, he was so funny. And that was definitely off the rails.
We couldn't get through without laughing because it was just so funny. It was so ridiculous.
My personal one, which is another time that you see me laughing, I could not laugh, was, I referenced this earlier, but when Holly is helping Kevin at the vending machine, she thinks that he's slow.
Yeah.
And I had my hand out, and she's telling, and she goes, "This is a nickel, this is a quarter." She picks up and she goes, "This is a button." There was just something about the earnestness on her face and her telling me that it was a button, that I could not stop laughing. And so because I could not stop laughing, I turned to the camera and gave the smile because I was laughing, which cut in perfectly to me saying, "I'm totally gonna bang Holly." So I made it work to my advantage, but simply because I could not laugh.
That episode is so messed up.
It's so messed up. It's so messed up.
And then he's leaving the parking lot and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm driving to the store." She's like, "Good for you." And he drives a car. She was so proud and taking everything he did. So messed up. So many levels. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, Oscar or Leslie, you have another off the rail moment you want to share?
I think when I got a wallet stuffed in my mouth, that was because it wasn't in the script. So, it's in the script. We have a black, you can't die Stanley, Obama's president. But the part about the wallet, when I saw Steve with the wallet in his hand, I knew what he was going to do. Because he would get this little twinkle in his eye. And he was like, just go with it. Lay back, let it happen.
That's what she said.
Really intelligent guy, that internet theory?
I have heard that internet theory very recently. There is no truth in it. Have you guys heard that? The whole thing that Kevin is actually a genius and is making fun of this is like some weird conspiracy theory.
Crackhead theory.
What?
You won that poker tournament?
I won what poker tournament? No.
No, casino night.
Because you're a good poker player, Kevin is.
Oh.
There's a thing where you say, "Yeah, I won the choosy poker tournament at the World Series of Poker."
Yeah, but then I think the joke is that Phyllis lucks into it.
Yeah, she wants to do it.
Yeah.
He's a savant. He can play poker.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, I also want to know, Leslie, how many push-ups did you actually do?
Never tell. I was on a board actually. Yeah, because after you do, you can do a couple of, I did a couple of them, but I'm like, really, after you're filming something and to make that many, when you're doing take after take, this body is not doing that.
Right answer is 30.
They weren't paying me that much.
All right, we're going to the gentleman in the Pizza Planet shirt.
Okay. 2 questions. I'm a big fan, been a fan since 2005, grew up at the high school, everything. So, a couple of questions. How long did it take for you to do the lip sync with you, Michael, doing the whole dancing moves and the magic, and then you doing the whole in the back and everything? Second question, who is the Grand Strangler? Please tell me, who is the Grand Strangler?
That will forever be a mystery in our hearts.
We all know it's Toby. I mean, come on.
One never knows. It's the great mystery.
Well, so your first question was, I would say, and tell me if I'm wrong, there were 2 sequences in the show really that required multiple days, and so hours upon a few days of rehearsal, and one was the lip sync thing, and the other was the one that we've referenced, the fake fire drill thing.
What is the lip sync thing?
Oh my God! Were you in the show?
Tell the kids about drugs again, Oscar.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember.
It was called lip dub. Lip dub.
Yeah,
That was a big thing.
Okay.
The Scranton Strangler, here's the thing. So now, Leslie and I have gone to colleges, we've done a bunch of these tours, so it's different of us together. Someone always asks about the Scranton Strangler.
Yes.
The answer to the question is, none of us care.
They never resolve it. The writers don't.
No, they don't know. It never happened, and
There are hints towards it,
but people really are interested.
But the people make the hints. The people, like him trolling, that doesn't come from our writers. That doesn't come from the show. That comes from outside. People thinking of it and going over it and thinking of the show because they
But
love the
maybe
show.
Creed.
All right, let's do this. Show of hands. Who thinks it's Toby? All right, who thinks it's Creed?
Who doesn't care?
Who doesn't care? All right, there we go. We have no decision. All right, more questions. I'm going to go all the way in the back of the ping pong paddle. Stand up and speak really loud.
So, as a 2-part question, one for Brian. Where did the inspiration for your voice come from? Because in the first season, your voice is very different from the rest of the show. And also, is there any storyline that you guys wish that you could have explored with any of your characters?
Okay, so part 1, what voice? Like Leslie mentioned before, I actually went to school to be an actor, so I did theater for a long time. Here's my justification for it. When you start at the very beginning of the show, there was very little for us to do. There was we didn't talk a lot. And Keith, if you watch the British version, says like, everybody loves him, he says like 14 words through 12 episodes. So that's sort of where it started, and then the writers got to know me, the writers wanted to expand the ensemble and give more storylines to more people. So suddenly my characters started talking more, and we began to sort of develop, who he was. That was maybe not the only thing remarkable about him is that he's remarkably unremarkable, right? So my nerdy theater went to school for it justification became that Kevin was very nervous and scared around the cameras when they first showed up into the office. And as they were around more, he became more comfortable, and so his truer self began to come out. And that's really the only justification. But like from a pragmatic standpoint, it was that I didn't have to say very much, and they really made him that guy who in some ways sort of became Toby in some ways, not exactly, but throughout, very sort of milk toasty in the background. So they just started writing for me in a different way. So that was my justification for the character. And then I don't remember because I talked for a long time. Storylines
that you would like to have seen them.
I'll answer it and then I'll get out of the way. The one that was
Too late for that.
was deleted. No, the one that was deleted. If you've ever seen the deleted scenes, and someone said that now on Netflix or something, it's in the episode. The biggest bummer of a story that was cut for me was when Jan is having her baby. There's a scene that did not air originally on NBC that I was super bummed about, which was there was a scene where we were having a baby shower for her, and she starts talking about the exclusive sperm bank that she got the donation from, and Kevin says, "The one by the IHOP?" And the look on her face, and the look on Steve's face that maybe the baby was actually Kevin's, I thought was so amazingly funny.
Did they leave that in?
No, they didn't leave it in.
Oh,
That's the
man.
thing. It's around
That's
there now.
funny.
Maybe it's on Netflix now, but
That's
anyway.
Oh, that's the best.
Oscar, Leslie, anything you wish they had done for your characters?
No, I'm good. They asked us, and I think, no, I didn't have any. I was happy with what they were doing.
I can't think of anything. You know, instead of Florida, maybe Paris. That's the final retirement destination, but that's just personal preference.
All right, fair enough. I think I saw one way in the back. Yeah, you had your hand up before. Go ahead. Stand up, speak real loud.
You've had some phenomenal guest stars throughout the years as bosses, especially. Who's been your favorites or the best to work with?
Favorites, bosses.
I loved Kathy Bates. You know, Idris was big fun to work with. You know, Will Ferrell was hilarious. Who else?
James Spader. James Spader was great, and he was really cool. He was really
down to earth.
Yeah, well, he's very professorial. It's kind of who he is a little bit. But he was very protective of the actors. I remember we did something and I got something in my eye, and he was just really cool about it. And yeah,
And
so
he's got that photographic memory.
yeah, it's really cool.
He can look at something and just.
Well, and Idris Elba too.
Great.
Like the coolest guy in
Coolest
Hollywood.
guy. How's he doing? Is he doing okay? I
haven't seen him do anything recently.
Little Idris Elba.
Just got married
Hope he's
recently,
doing
had
well.
another baby. Yeah.
He's doing well.
All right, the young lady, and yep, you right there. Stand on up. Proceed.
Do you believe that Stanley and Phyllis had a relationship?
That's Stanley and
Phyllis
Phyllis.
had a relationship. They did. They still do. They have a lovely friendship. That was my bud. We sat across each other for 9 seasons, and probably because we bonded at the original audition when we just started doing that improv, and it just clicked, and that's why they decided to put us across from one another, and it just, you know, it's worked. What
Okay.
about the people from Harry Potter? They've got a lot
Okay,
of
we
wonderful
go.
robes.
Mr. Potter, please.
You're welcome.
Are these your people?
Have my check ready when this is over.
Did they shoot any scenes with Jim Carrey other than the fact that he didn't get the part?
To my knowledge, they
I don't think
did
so.
shoot that one little.
Oh, he was in.
Yeah, he was in it, but not with the rest of us.
Oh yeah, I don't think there was
Yeah.
a scene in the conference room with him. No.
The show was ending, and we have a lot of fans. It was so cool, and all these guys, all these awesome people, Odenkirk, Ray Romano, Jin, they just wanted to be a part of it.
Mhm.
And they came in and were lovely enough to do these little cameos, and it's amazing. It's
Conan
amazing.
O'Brien, he
It's
fell
amazing.
off the ceiling.
We'll go to the young lady. Your hand was first. Go ahead.
What was it like on set the day that Michael left?
Oh,
and then
Lord.
after he left?
Like somebody in your family died.
Like a very, very rich person in your family.
But he gave us lovely watches when he left. So we were in the will.
No, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, it was.
It was sad.
really difficult. Yeah, it was really difficult. And I think that you have to put the show in context too. I mean, they were looking for people who were not known, which again was why I thought it would be a good show for me at that time. But even Steve, he was on. He had done basically one sort of major cameo in a movie, Bruce Almighty. and he was on the show, The Daily Show, but that was way before it was cool. And so very few people knew that, and so he was unknown. Rain had done, half a season on 6 Feet Under, if you ever watched that show, and not a lot else. And so we all were not known. What is it? Melora Hardin, who played Jan, had done 14 pilots, so the first episode of 14 shows, and none of them ever went and was on television before The Office. So like, people like that.
Good therapy behind all that.
Yeah. So she, so we were just all unknown, and we had the show, and we all just sort of grew up, and it changed all of our lives. And he was Papa Bear. So when he left, it was really difficult.
What was cool, it was very schizophrenic because he was leaving and people were crying all the time, but Will Ferrell was there for the transition, and he was so funny and just being Will Ferrell, and so we were laughing and crying and laughing and crying and laughing and crying. But yeah, it was sad. It was intense. It was intense when Steve left. That was the end of The Office. Then we did 2 seasons without him, which were great, but it was different.
All right, gentlemen. Yep, you were first, right there.
This is a question for Leslie. Brian, in the episode where Michael challenged the warehouse to play basketball because he's a basketball player. Is that true? Like, is that really how you guys played? Like, Leslie's a secret?
That was in the script when I read Secret Weapon, and I knew that I was the character Stanley's not supposed to be able to really play ball, but everybody is assuming that because he's black, he's supposed to be able to, be this wonderful basketball player. And I wanted to come up with something that would demonstrate that. And I thought back to high school to this guy. He would play ball, and he actually could play, but he would always throw one hand out behind his back, and when he would, dribble the ball. And I thought, suppose if I borrowed that hand sticking out, but then really you do the wide palm, and when you're bouncing the ball, it's like you're counting every time, and it looks crazy, and it works. On the other hand, Kevin, of course, can really play basketball in real life, and Brian can actually play basketball in real life. So it all worked out beautifully and made good television, which is why you all are still talking about it today.
Yeah, that was not in the script. So that was, I do play basketball, and so it was me and John Krasinski plays, and I feel like there was one more. Well, David Demon, who played Roy.
BJ plays
a little bit. So we would play when the cameras were setting up, or they were doing lightings, or we would come. So we were just playing, and we were shooting, and so it became an idea. Different people have claimed credit for it, but the idea was that when the game was over and Michael destroys everything, that the camera would stay and come back to me shooting. And I am freaking very proud, 13 in a row, if you get the DVD. They had to edit it for television in a row from free throw line extended around. That was not edited. That was pure bawling.
And that wasn't a fluke. If he shoots 20, he's going to get 15 in, like every time. He can hit from the outside.
Even the professional basketball players, they had a couple of, these people that were there supposedly to show us how to play basketball. And when the camera wasn't running, they said, oh, just keep running back and forth, and then it'll keep. I'm like, are you crazy? You know how many takes we're doing this running back and forth? And they were like, yeah, it's good. I'm like, no, I'm going to sit on the couch. And Stanley, I remember, sprains his ankle or something. Yeah, I had an ice pack on my ankle for one of the scenes.
Yeah.
So
we're going to go to the gentleman in the Chargers hat. Or the young man next to the gentleman in the Chargers hat. Go for it.
So one of the theories for Kevin is that when Stacey left him is when he actually slowly became
I haven't heard that one either. So when Stacey left me, I went insane. I haven't heard. Maybe so though. Maybe it's true.
All right, we had another hand over there. Go ahead. Raise your hand up again. Do you have questions?
I see one way.
Okay, we're going to go you right here, and then we're going to you in the gray hat.
What happened to the Dundies?
What happened to the Dundies?
The pops?
What do you mean?
You mean the actual statues or the ceremony?
Like the ceremony, it just stopped in the show, like they have that head chilies and then it just never.
It never happened
Yeah,
again
they
since.
went. Yeah, I think they were. Well, it happened at the end, right?
Right. Will
when
Ferrell,
Steve left.
yeah,
when he leaves,
yeah,
we
that's
did
right.
one more time.
Because the people who came in after Michael Scott, they're not into it. They're not doing the Dundies. I think it was Michael Scott's thing.
Yeah, I think also that I mean, I think more to answer your question, like why wasn't there a Dundies every year or something? I think that one of the things that Greg talked about a lot, which made the season premieres every year kind of a very big deal to the nerdy writers, was that they wanted it to appear as though you were seeing it happen in real time, right? And so that it wasn't a show where you ever saw anything happen in the summer, because on NBC we weren't on in the summer, so we weren't filming in the summer, so they were just sort of picking off when it happened. And so I think, and not obviously every day, right? If there's an episode every week or every 2 weeks, you're only seeing a small part of what happens. I think that would be the nerdy writer answer would be, we've done that, and so that's not a day that we're going to show. Doesn't mean that it's not happening. And I think somebody said at some point, like, a Christmas episode was something the network wanted to be able to promote every year. So there was a Christmas episode every year, but other than that, like, you don't see every St. Patrick's Day, and you don't see every Valentine's Day or Halloween. Well, Halloween maybe we did mostly, but again, I think that's more for other reasons. But
I'm going to go to the gentleman in the gray hat. Go ahead.
Stanley, I had to ask a question. In the episode Weight Loss Part 2, you lost about 5 pounds. I don't know what those other fools were doing, but you lost 5 pounds. So
it was water.
We never found out who was gaining the weight. What happened? You lost 5 and everybody else was gaining weight. Who was that? Kevin, Oscar?
Who do you want to throw under the bus?
Again, what episode are we talking about?
What is it? The weight loss contest.
Oh, the weight loss one.
On the scale, when everybody gets on
the scale, yeah, when Mindy passed out. Okay.
Passed out or almost passed out?
Yeah.
It's a mystery. I don't know.
Always a dietary mystery.
All right, we have all the way in the very back corner. Go ahead. Yep. Leslie, you want to start? New projects, things you're doing?
I'm in my second season of doing Puppy Dog Pals for Disney. I play Frank. Let's see, I'm also doing another cartoon called Copper. I play an elderly forklift, Uncle Forkrick. And what else? Doing these Comic-Cons and doing speaking engagements and just trying to relax a little bit when I can, but stuff keeps popping up, so.
Do you still swear at old people while you're driving?
I swear at all people when I'm driving, because it is the right thing to do, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Fair enough. Oscar, I know you have some commercial work you've been doing recently, right?
You know what? Thank you for State Farm. What a wonderful insurance company. Those are done, but it was a lot of fun doing them. But they're done because Chris got traded to Oklahoma, I think. And but I'm on Mr. Iglesias on Netflix with Gabe Iglesias. And then some cartoon voiceovers. Where's Waldo? And there's another one called Below Deck or something. I think it's called Below Deck.
Or something. He doesn't even know.
Guillermo del Toro's involved in it. Yeah, and
is that the Star Trek?
No, man, it's a cartoon.
No, they're talking. Yeah,
what is it? 3 Below. I'm in that. I'm in 3 Below. Where's Waldo?
I just sent me a check. I'll cash it.
Oh my gosh. A couple of game shows, and I'm gonna be back on CSI. I'm gonna be back on CSI. I was on. And I'm gonna be back on that. That's it. Yeah, Brian.
CSI is not in the air. CSI? Wait a minute. No,
that's the thing that's everyone.
Yeah. CSI hasn't been on since before we were off the air.
No, the show with LL.
Is there a show CSI on the air right now?
NCIS.
And that one. LL Cool J.
Everybody nodded it. Oh yeah, CSI. It was gone 10 years ago.
No, what she said. NCIS with LL Cool J. I was on that. They want me back again.
Indulge the crazy actor.
So I'm on that one too.
I thought you were breaking some news. Hey, CSI's getting rebooted. Oscar's going to be the lead. This will be awesome. Brian, what you got going on?
I'm starring on Murder, She Wrote right now. I'm going to be doing Mork and Mindy in the fall.
That would be a terrible reboot. You do Jonathan Winter's character. That'd be pretty good.
I've been doing a recurring thing on the Goldbergs, and movie-wise, I have a movie coming out. It was supposed to be coming out next week. I think they're going to hold it a little bit for promotional reasons, but it's called My Boyfriend's Meds. It was written by the woman who wrote Mrs. Doubtfire, and it's funny. They didn't screw it up. And I'm doing an animated show on Netflix, which I do know the name of, but I'm not allowed to say yet. So Netflix ordered 30 episodes of this show, and it's been the craziest thing. It'll be a 2-year process, and it probably won't be out until next spring.
It's freaking awesome. So wait, the movie's a comedy.
Yeah.
You're doing comedy now?
Yeah, we have a ring outside. If you guys want to go out, we could do a Three Falls match or something.
He picks on me. I may be having the first signs of Alzheimer's or dementia, and he picks on me. So he's gonna get it back. You're doing comedy now.
He's been like this forever, you guys.
Shit, he's right.
He's been walk up on set, he'd be like,
right.
Hey, you mean Steve Carell? Yeah, Steve, yeah. I gotta.
You're right.
All right, we're gonna go to this gentleman right here, and then we have a woman in the back. I see you back there, so we'll go here and then there.
You're right.
Brian, can we get one really good Kevin laugh? Just one laugh.
I love that. If you watch the deleted scenes of him sitting on Steve's, what do you want, little boy? I don't know. Why are you sitting on my lap? I've never been asked to sit on someone's lap before. Oh, it's so good.
In the back, though.
Did you guys get to take any props home with you? Do you have something you got to take from the show?
What props did you take home?
I took a pair of shoes, and I think I threw them away or so. I took a pair of shoes and maybe a jacket.
Yeah, I took the M&M jar.
Tell them about what your housekeeper did.
Yeah, okay, so I have this story. So I had the M&M jar. I took it straight right off the desk, and it was filled with M&Ms, which I did not, contrary to popular belief, I was not eating them throughout the show. I mean, when it was scripted, I would eat them or whatever. So I took and I brought it home. And a couple of years go by, and I look at it it's on my desk at home. It's still on my desk, but and I saw that the M&Ms were going down. And I was like, what? I mean, it's definitely not me. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I realized that every week, my housekeeper would come to clean my house and would reach in and grab M&Ms and throw them in her mouth. I'm sure there was no other way it happened. So slowly I realized I was poisoning her. These M&Ms were 10 years old and had been in this thing. So I was like, oh my God. I'm like, so there were two things I could do, right? One is like, are you stealing from me?
Or to die.
Yeah, or like, so I threw them out. So now I have the jar, but it is not filled with M&Ms. I have that and my nameplate that says Kevin Malone.
Did you give that housekeeper a raise?
Yes, exactly.
So you jumped up. I was going to say she's doing okay. She's at Mount Sinai. If you want to contribute, she had a condition that developed from the M&Ms. Her stomach, some ulcer that won't heal. Anyway.
Leslie, did you take anything?
I took a few pair of shoes. I took little coffee cup. I took what else? There's a bunch of junk at my house in the garage in a box that I haven't opened yet, but when I'm no longer here amongst the living, I'm sure someone will open it and try to sell it. So stay tuned on the website.
The gentleman in the hat in the very back.
I was just wondering if you could hear Stanley get a little angry, kind of like how he got.
You want rage on a Sunday? Boy, have you lost your mind.
All right, we're going to go to the young lady right up front, then we're going to go to the gentleman in the cape thing, whatever. Okay, you first. Go ahead. How did you come up with the Kool-Aid Man?
The
voice?
Kool-Aid Man face. That was like a writer. The funniest meme thing online is there's one of me doing the Kool-Aid Man face next to a seal. Have you ever seen that? It's just like up like that. I don't know. Although somebody brought a pop of me. Yeah, you guys. They couldn't find the Kevin Malone pop, so they brought the Kool-Aid Man pop, which I thought was very clever.
All right, and go ahead in the robe, I think. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sure.
About to faint in that robe and in that scarf.
For playing the characters for so long, do you guys sometimes just, out in normal life, accidentally stop?
Oscar does. Occasionally he goes into gay bars. Just, right, Oscar?
I will slow dance with gentlemen. My wife is livid. And I'm like, I'm just, you're so proud.
Time for one more question. I'm sorry to say, and the first hand I saw, we'll try to maybe get two, but we'll try one for sure. We're going to go here.
So my question is, being that you guys work cast for so long, for so many years, do you guys still get together, holidays, catch up, or?
Not so much for holidays because everybody's with their families and all that, but we see each other now so much at the Comic-Cons. And of course, a few months ago we had brunch at Greg Daniels' house, which was quite delicious, actually. It was delicious food. They had salmon, they had a little bit of, anyway. Yeah, but it was just brunch.
And no talk of reboots.
No, since we're being real and honest, and it's cool, and that's a valid question. I have a restraining order against Baumgartner. No, you guys don't know. You guys don't know. He rages. You see him now. He's jolly and friendly. The children love him. He has moments.
Beat you under your feet.
And he has struck me.
Repeatedly about the head and throat.
I see Creed once in a while. He lives in the valley, and Angela and this guy. We see each other once in a while, and like Leslie says, we see each other out here. We've started doing this year because of Netflix and everything, so it's very cool. Thanks to you guys.
All right, I'm gonna cheat and do one more, and I saw the young lady with the red hair right there. You had your second hand up, so you could go ahead.
So what's brought you to StocktonCon? Like, what places? Just, Central Valley since everyone's all going.
What brought you to StocktonCon?
Community service. I was caught jaywalking in Beverly Hills, and the judge
said, "I banished you to Stockton."
Well, tell us your impressions of Stockton and the visit. How has it been for you? Just put you on the spot. Go ahead, say nice things.
Everybody's been super nice. I actually had I was the minister. This is not a joke. I was the minister at a wedding on Friday night. I know it's weird. There was a wedding on Friday night, and so I got in yesterday and came right here and slept and came back. So I haven't seen much, but.
Well, welcome to Stockton.
Thank you.
And I would say I was born and raised here, and I would say it's a great city. And I kind of felt like Scranton is kind of like a little bit of Stockton for me. I don't know. Has a little
right on.
Listen, I grew up in New Jersey, so I know what it's like to get picked on. As a state, New Jersey was great to live in, and I had a great time, and people knock it all the time. It's what it is.
Yeah.
But and this is a joke, but I texted my wife just as or 2 days ago when I got here. I'm like, I'm at a hotel. It's really nice. The hotel is nice. I think if I cross the street and walk 2 blocks, I'm pretty sure I can buy crack. I'm not kidding. That title belong, it's a joke, because I grew up in New Jersey, so I can say that. Thank you.
All right, well, with that, we're going to have to wrap it up. Please give a huge Stockton. Brian, Oscar, Leslie, thank you all so much. They're still up on the fun deck. You still got time to go up and visit, get a picture. And then you guys have been the best panel crowd I've had in 6 years. Thank you all so much. Give yourselves a round of applause. Nice job.
Hey, Miss.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, I want to cry.